All the times I've been walking around Boston the last 2 months, I feel like I'm literally the only person who actually respects walk signals. Rules exist for a reason, but why do so many people just blatantly ignore them? Before I talk about all that, be sure to give this video a like, comment what you think about all this, subscribe for cultural commentary and rants, and feel free to join me at the Zillennial Nexus Point Discord. Link will be in the description below. There's more than just walk signals, but let's focus on that first. The odds of getting hit by a car are way lower when you actually adhere to the walk signals because 99% of the time, the cars are adhering to the traffic lights. Yes, nobody is perfect. Yes, there's always a possibility that some jerk is going to treat them more like a suggestion than a actual mandate. But for the most part, as long as all parties involved are following the rules, things work out. The principle here is we all need a shared understanding for what makes navigating the city safer. Preferably, we could all just move car traffic completely underground like what Walt Disney wanted to do with Epcot. Unfortunately, we don't live in that timeline though. With the Big Dig, Boston came pretty close to actually doing that. But yeah, my point is, traffic lights and walk signals only work if everyone treats them as rules, not suggestions. Beyond traffic signals, beyond walk signals at crosswalks, I have noticed other massive breakings of the rules and a lack of enforcement that makes me question why it's a rule in the first place. Specifically, when I went to the AMC last Saturday, I talked so much about Buzzkill Lightyear, and I've got more to say about that situation. What I want to talk about this time is that when I was in there, past the ticket checking usher, I saw so many people with refillable bottles just wandering around near the concession stand. And then, when I was in the theater for the long walk, some of the people in the row in front of me just plopped refillable bottles into the cup holders like it was something that the theater sold. Whereas I was the idiot who spent $6 on a bottle of water instead. For those of you who have never been to a movie theater or haven't read the code of conduct or the official rules, movie theaters in general don't allow outside food and drink. It's literally posted on a sign above the usher stand in front of the escalator to the area with theaters 3 through 19 at the AMC I went to. I mean, the print is pretty small, but it's there, and I noticed it when I was heading up because I tend to notice things. I'm a little too observant for my own good sometimes. But yeah, the reason that I tend to follow that rule, even though I think refillable water bottles shouldn't be a big deal, is that AMC profits depend on concessions. Actually, movie theaters as a whole. So I respect the rule. I pay for the $6 water bottle. Now, if they amended it to allow refillable water bottles and had the one you could hold up, the water fountain you could hold up a bottle to refill it, like what they have at the library and the Museum of Science, I would totally do that. But until then, I'm not going to give them an excuse. I'm not going to risk having to choose between throwing out the refillable water bottle or at least emptying it into a trash can or something. I'm not going to bring outside food and drink, which is, again, literally against the rules that are posted on the wall there. Continuing with rules about food and drink, the Mugar Omni Theater. I left this out when I talked about the Jaws outing there, but when I was sitting in the Mugar Omni Theater, I heard cans popping open despite the clear prohibition. Rules were posted on signs for the entry to the hallway to the Mugar Omni Theater and the planetarium, and it was literally spelled out on screen before the movie started. My best guess for why they have that rule is custodial costs and maintaining a clean venue. And also, there's not a lot of time throughout the day because there's like, what, 10, 15 minutes max between the regular daily shows of the various documentaries. And then there wasn't a whole lot of time between the two screenings of whatever movie they have. They have that Demon Slayer movie playing there right now, which I think they have the same options of 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Saturday. Whatever. They have to maintain a clean venue, and I'm guessing they probably just don't have the resources to have an employee clean it out every single time like a traditional movie theater does. So, their theater, their rules, I have respected those rules as long as I can remember, and I'm going to keep respecting them because I don't want to be that guy. Anyway, going back to the Toy Story 30th anniversary re-release experience, I've told the story of Buzzkill Lightyear. I'm not going to rehash the whole thing. For the TLDR, he was yelling at phone users and chatterboxes. I get it. I don't like when people disrespect the movie like that, but he sank to the chatterboxes level, and he was actually a lot more disruptive than them. Not in terms of how long he was disruptive for, but you could hear him clear as day, whereas the chatterboxes were kind of muffled, and I'm certain that the phone users would have put their phones down pretty quickly. I bet if he posted on r slash am I the blank hole, I'm pretty sure it would get an everyone sucks. Buzzkill Lightyear handled this very immaturely and was a hypocrite at the same time. The phone users in the chatterboxes were jerks for not following the rules that were literally spelled out for them after the previews. Like, if you've been to any movie theater ever and you've sat through the previews before the movie, every time I've ever been to a movie, they have always had some kind of reminder to turn off your or mute your phone at the very least and not take it out, to not talk during it. You get the idea. My problem is I followed all of those rules and still had my experience ruined. You know what? It's about the principle. Rules do exist for a reason. I've said before on this channel that if you can't explain why a rule exists, you shouldn't have it. But I can generally explain why these rules exist. Walk signals are there to protect pedestrians. Movie theater rules protect the immersion of the experience, respect for everyone involved. And in the case of the Mugar Omni Theater, it allows them to maintain a clean venue for everyone else. In the case of AMC, with their no outside food or drink, their goal is to keep the business running since ticket sales are not the real moneymaker. The common thread is that these rules were not just pulled out of thin air, they're there for safety, fairness, and shared respect. I'm going to keep following rules, even if I feel like the only one who does. Rules are only as strong as our willingness to respect them. I'm going to wrap it up here. You let me know again in the comments if there's a rule that you follow religiously that everyone else seems to ignore. Give this video a like, subscribe for cultural commentary and rants from a man caught between generations. And last but certainly not least, feel free to join me at the Zillennial Nexus Point Discord. Link will be in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.